Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Corey, better known as the Seaman. Now I want to welcome you to another edition of the Seaman's Cinema Sit Down. Oh man, dude, before we get, just let me, I've done this before, but like, you never be too sure, especially after seeing a movie like the one I just came out of. Oh boy, was this a good one, man. I was OD hyped the minute it was announced. The minute the cast was announced, everybody knew was coming back was announced. I was just like, oh, I like everything we're doing. Then they said, hey, you know what? After the original, we're going to forget everything else we ever made. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And I tell you what, this movie delivers, man. I really, really dug what David Gordon Green pulled off here. From a directing standpoint, but also from a writing standpoint, alongside Danny McBride. But before we get even into all that, man, I gotta tell you what we're talking about. You might not know yet. So pull up a chair, take a seat. I'm, of course, fresh out the theater after seeing Halloween, and oh, did it do everything I wanted it to, and then some. Like I said, man, I thought David Gordon Green did a really good job of creating a movie worthy of the title Halloween, right? It's not Halloween Part 2. It's not Halloween, We're Back. It's Halloween. It's the original title from the original movie. And this feels very much like the original movie if it was adapted to, a current setting. I mean, it feels like Haddonfield hasn't even changed. It's unbelievable, man. And the movie feels very current. The viciousness and ferocity and lethalness to Michael in this movie is kicked up to an appropriate 2018 size compared to the original. And it stays in tune with the original. The tone is there. Gordon Green does some really, really great work with close-up shots that just constantly put you in spots where you're just like, oh god, that feels like the original. That feels like the original, but it's not the original, right? It's all tweaked in little ways that make this movie his own. But at the same time, it just does all the appropriate nods to the original that it needs. But even before that, John Carpenter being back, man, sitting in the producer chair, and then of course writing and producing everything for the score. And the score in this movie is its first big victory, as to be expected, right? The Halloween score has always been one of the best, but John Carpenter is on his A game in this movie, man. If Stevie Wonder was sitting in the crowd with us tonight, he would have jumped every time the crowd jumped, man. That's what the score does, man. It drives this movie in a way where you don't even need to be looking at the screen to be getting the tension and the suspense and the pops. And it every time it needs to elevate it, it elevates it. And the first time you hear that, ooh, man, you like the crowd cheered. You were like, oh, there it is, man. So good. But it's not just all about Michael Myers in the mask, right? And just not all about Michael Myers the way we are used to seeing him. The movie does some stuff early on that is a little different, that I thought added a really cool layer or two to Michael, as far as almost seeing the reminding yourself that there's the human element to Michael and not just the boogeyman element. And I thought Gordon Green does a really good job of blending those worlds together to the point where you're just like, yeah, okay. I see where we're going, man. I know what Michael Myers is about. It just was awesome. Then, of course, do I even need to say it? Jamie Lee Curtis, good God almighty, man. She was amazing. Such an inspired performance from her, man. It's like she's just been waiting to bring Laurie Strode back in the way that she deserves, man. She is crazy. She is, badass, man. She's badass through this whole movie, but when she's not being crazy. She's got one scene, man, you're just like, ooh, I am ready for some Laurie Strode. Let's go. But no, she's unbelievable, man. She takes the character everywhere she needs to go, man. She's just always a little off, but always on the money. And that's what that trauma of something like that will do, where you haven't had 6, 7 other films that you've been a part of. This is just 40 years and you've never seen the man. You've just been waiting for the day that he returns so that you can put him down. And Jamie Lee Curtis knocks it out of the ballpark. As does everyone that's involved with her family, man. Judy Greer, who plays her daughter Karen, really, really good stuff from Judy Greer. She plays the perfect in-between balance of like what a mother has to be feeling now while looking at her own mom and her daughter. And speaking of her daughter, Andi Matichak, not given a ton to do in this movie, but when she does, like, there were moments where she's doing certain things. I was like, this is like young Laurie Strode, like vibes, not like identical, right? We're not I'm not it's Jamie Lee Curtis, but there are definitely vibes where you're like, and having the three of them there is a nice kind of pairing, or tripling, and then also throw in Toby Huss, who plays Karen's husband Ray, Allison's dad. He brings in a nice little, the family unit in this movie works really, really well. Even to the point where Colin Mann gets a nice shout out, man. The original Dr. Loomis, Michael's first doctor. And at this point, only doctor up until, Haluk Bilginer. I'm getting that one wrong, but he plays Dr. Sartain, who was a student of Loomis and is now Michael's actual doctor. And there's a nice little thing that happens in the movie that kind of reminds you that he's the new Loomis, or is he? There's a nice added element to Sartain that I really dug, and it gave you a nice moment that led to an ultimate, real nice payoff with his character. So that stuff was really good, but then, you gotta give your hat off to James Jude Courtney and Nick Castle, who, of course, are credited as The Shape, but we all know them as Michael Myers. On screen with Jamie Lee Curtis, man, the Michael and Laurie stuff in this movie is really good, and what's nice is they build to them real quick, and then you get some time apart, and then you get the climax that you want, and the last 20 minutes, man, you're just setting up camp on the edge of your seat, man. It is unnerving at times. The end of this movie finishes so strong that you just, you sat there and, the whole crowd, for the most part, clapped. There were a couple people like, what, really? To the point where 3/4 of the crowd stayed all the way through the credits. Now, I'll do this every so often on a movie that I really dig, because I like to see all the names, right? All those people work so hard. When you really dig a movie, stay through the credits, man. Give them the appreciation they deserve. See some of the names. You're not going to get all of them, but, it's good to see some of them. But this whole crowd stayed thinking there was going to be a post-credit scene. I was like, man, this isn't a Marvel movie. This isn't a superhero movie. There's no post-credit. But if you do stay all the way to the end, there is something that if I get into a spoiler review on this one, we'll talk about. But there's something there that I just thought was the perfect little piece you needed at the end to give full homage to the character. And like I said, this movie it nails it. It feels like Halloween today. And this movie won me over 5 minutes in, man. The opening sequence in this movie is phenomenal. And then the opening credit and title card, I just sat there. I was like, yep, okay. Blumhouse, you done it again. Take all my money, man. Really, really dug the heck out of this movie. I absolutely loved Halloween. I think it's a great way to introduce a new generation to the story, in a way where I think it's operating not as good as the original. I'm a sucker for the original, but it's elevating on that level. And what Carpenter and Green and this cast, Jamie Lee Curtis, everybody did. They should all be super proud of themselves, man, because it was just phenomenal, top to bottom. So there you go, man. That's everything the C-Man thinks about Halloween without spoiling nothing for you guys. Absolutely loved it. I thought they nailed it. It did everything that it needed to do to make us diehard Halloween fans go, yeah, I like where we're at. Really, really dug it. But now it's your turn, man. You gotta hit those comments below. Let me know what you're thinking. Have you seen the movie already? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Did you think it built the suspense and the terror? It's a scary movie, even if you're not jumping the whole time. And it got me like 4 or 5 times, maybe 6 or 7. There's a few real good jumps in this movie, but it does so many things. Let me know what you enjoyed about it or didn't enjoy about it. I hope there's not too many dislikes to this movie, because there's so much to enjoy. Revel in what you do like, and let me know what you think down below. If you haven't seen it, had the C-Man enticed you? I don't think I need to. This movie, I'm gonna predict right now it's gonna do over $100 million this weekend. This movie is gonna be massive, and if you think I'm crazy, go take a look at the It numbers from a year ago. This movie, everybody's going to see this movie, man. So let me know what you're thinking down below. As always, if you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up. And if you're new here, hit the subscribe and little bell so you get alerts every time I make a new video. The Seaman Cinema Sit Down, Halloween style. I'm the Seaman. I'm signing off. Peace. Woo. You can't get rid of me that easy, guys. And for shame on the Seaman for leaving out two very important points that I meant to point out during my first run at this. And that's, watch the way in which Michael Myers is shot in this movie. The camera work surrounding him, I thought, was phenomenal. Whether it's far away, whether it's up close, whether it's a low angle or a high angle. Just take a look at the different ways in which they shoot Michael Myers on camera. All of them are just, there's some really, really spectacular Michael Myers shots on there. But the thing that's even more unforgivable than that is failing to mention Jibril Nantambu, arguably my favorite character in the entire movie. He plays little Julian. We get a glimpse of Julian in the trailers when the babysitter goes to close his closet door. And that glimpse can't even prepare you for an iota of what we get from him. He is absolutely phenomenal, man. Everything that comes out of his mouth will make you either smile or laugh. Specifically, the first thing he says in the movie, the whole crowd lost it, man. I cannot get over Jibril Nantambu. Know the name, man. Be on the lookout. This kid pops in a major way. All right, there we go. That's actually everything I have to say about Halloween. Seaman out. Peace.
Hey, you like the Seaman's videos? Well, why don't you click on this one and hit that subscribe button there? Yeah.